The Arbor Day proclamation was left off the agenda for next week. If we could add that onto next week's agenda. It's also an annual proclamation honoring Arbor Day.
That's right. Something our planning and zoning department leads on, so we can put that on the agenda as well if it's okay with everybody. All right. Next, we'll move on to old business. I'll recognize Troy to talk about that item number 1.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members, the item before you tonight is the heating and air replacement at the E-Center. And that one, there were a few questions at the last month's meeting about the item. And Councilman Page asked for some additional quotes to be provided from some other vendors that are on the screen now before you. The old numbers are not in your packet. Well, they're in your memo on page 2. J.C. Lane had provided a proposal during the first iteration, and their price was $230,900. In order to secure some additional interest in the project and to create a level playing field, we did modify the scope of services slightly to make it a little bit different and request some 2 service interval supply requirements as a part of the contract opportunity. So we made it a little bit different just to, I guess, keep everybody honest in their proposals. So in the second go around, we did get 2 prices from Yanmar authorized installers. The first one was J.C. Lane. They're out of Alpharetta, and I'm abbreviating MGM, but it is Middle Georgia Mechanical out of Dublin. And then the third price that we wanted to secure was from Weaver Heating and Air out of Cartersville. All 3 of those are Yanmar authorized vendors. Weaver was reluctant to provide a price. They indicated that it was a little bit too far to travel for their comfort and would not be able to be competitive. Alpharetta's price went up substantially, and I have my suspicions as to why, but they did bump their number up considerably. That only included the additional supplies for the first 2 service intervals, and Middle Georgia Mechanical did agree to the additional scope. All these prices before you do include the payment and performance bonds that we said were in addition to these numbers last time. So the value actually went up from the low price from J.C. Lane last month, which was $230,000. Now we have a low price of $231,421. So we are anticipating a credit from the Gas Authority for the installation of these gas heat pumps, and that's reflected on the screen before you. So the net cost is just under $190,000, and this will provide for the replacement of the 6 HVAC units at the E-Center. And we're recommending approval of the purchase and authorization of the mayor to sign the contract for their installation. All these prices are, the low bid is under budget.
All right. I think Josh has a question.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Troy, correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like MGM was a better deal versus what we had last time because we're adding in the 2 service intervals. Is that correct? Am I understanding that right?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions of Troy on this item? All right. We'll move on then. We'll move to new business. Item number 2, Art, I believe that's you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The first item that we have is a request for RZ 25-002. This is at 1436 Railroad Avenue. Mayor and Council, I will tell you that the applicant informed planning that they did wish to withdraw that application. It was not heard at Planning Commission. So the request or the recommendation would be for council to formally withdraw the request without prejudice. It's our understanding from the applicants that after some attempts, they and their site designers were not able to make the property work for them. That may change at some other time.
So I'm going to lean on Frank here. Is that appropriate next Monday night? Okay. Thank you, Art.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, we'll now move on to item number 3. Art, I believe that's you as well.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor and Council, we have a design review application at 5290 Sycamore Road, which is R7306-053. This property is located at Sycamore near its intersection with Appling, the triangular shaped lot in purple with an existing home. Mr. Mayor and Council, you can see the adjacent zonings. The subject property is zoned RS 100 with BG and HM1 adjacent. Here is a copy of the site plan. And this is one a bit zoomed out. Here are the elevations for your view. Mr. Mayor and Council, the staff recommendation is approval of the site plan and buildings and material and architectural detail with the following conditions: that the final design shall substantially resemble the attached exhibits labeled Exhibits 1 through 3, and to reduce the front setback from 25 feet to 45 feet. Mr. Mayor and Council, we did receive an email earlier today from a neighbor who had a concern not about the plan itself, but about the front setback going from 45 feet to 25 feet. I went to the property myself this past Friday, just to take a look at the lots. The second one is adjacent. And the properties, so the residences are all in alignment, as you can see back to the aerial. And so the request would be basically to keep that in the same general line. Logan did reach out to Mr. Appling as well earlier, so we're waiting to hear if Joe has any thoughts in regards to the placement of the home, potentially going back in the same spot. So by the time we meet next week, we should have some more definitive information.
Thank you, Art. So the current setback is 45 feet? Is that the current? There's a home that's shown on the property there currently, and that is 45 feet, or is that?
Oh, the current home?
Yeah.
It's about that. They're pretty close
Okay.
to the right-of-way.
Got it. All right, any questions of Art on this item?
I have a couple. So just to clarify, on the picture you showed of the overhead, there's an existing house there that they're going to tear down and replace with this?
Yes.
Right, okay, and then on some of the setbacks here, on the one you were just showing, that looks like 13, if I can read it, it's a little fuzzy, or 13 something on the left and 9, less than 10 feet on the right. Do those meet the current requirements?
The 9.8 or 9.5 should be 10. And they have some, like, as you said, council member, they have 13 feet on what would be the west side, so they could somewhat scoot the home.
And they own both of those adjoining ones, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And so,
Now, the other concern is if they're moving up from the 45 to 25, if you go back to the overhead there, and if the current is 45 and they're wanting to go to 25 there, I know we've had quite a few accidents on Sycamore Road. I think they're a little further down, but in the curve there, I'd have maybe some concerns about that. Did you say they're looking at trying to go from 25 back to the original 45, or I didn't quite understand what you said.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, they want to go from 45 feet, which is the required minimum now, to 25 feet. They're approximately 25 or so feet right now. So they essentially want to stay where they are with
The current is 25?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll get that exact measurement, but they essentially want to have the footprint of the new home to be generally in the same spot.
Okay.
Yes.
So do have a concern, if we're moving it closer to the road, if the existing is already there, then I can maybe see a bit more leeway there. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sorry, I may have heard wrong. It is currently 25 feet back or 45 feet back? The current home, the one that's sitting there right now?
Oh, the current is about 25 feet.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yes, sir. The
Okay.
minimum setback is 45.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right.
Just one more thing. So that requirement of 45 came after this home was built, or there's already variance on that lot? Or how are they at 25 if our regulation is 45?
My assumption, just from going to the properties, I think the homes have been there for quite some time,
I
so
think
I would believe that they would have been, or are legal non-conforming
Okay,
grandfathered in.
thank you.
Yes, Taylor?
It appears to me that the house actually is right, almost on the right-of-way now. That front stoop looks like it's within a few feet of that front building line. Looks like that maybe right-of-way was acquired on Sycamore at some point in the past. So if this thing is 25 feet off, that's going to push the house back. It looks like probably at least the main building line 15 feet further back on the property than it sits now. Look, just based on GIS. Unfortunately, the application didn't include a survey, so it's kind of hard to really tell these numbers. We're just kind of guessing off of GIS, but it looks to me the house is actually going to sit further back in the property than the current house is, because the current house is, I mean, it's almost right on the property line there.
They're really
So-
close. When I drove, yes, sir, when I drove out, because I turned around at Appling, turn around there, they're pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that actually pushes the house further back than the existing house, at least 15, maybe 20 feet than what it is currently. Hopefully the applicant, I know on the site plan it says about something about getting a survey, which would have been obviously helpful for the,
Sort of where that requirement would have come in. But I would think, and I was for clarification, if there's a setback there, the setback has to be from the edge of the right-of-way, right?
From the edge of the right-of-way.
So if it's going where this house is, it looks like it would be 0, not 25, right? Which I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's right.
I think the 25 feet, pushing that house further back 25 feet, especially because it looks like they had, at some point, the county or whoever on Sycamore acquired you can see that offset 2 lots to the north there. Looks like about 10 feet or so. Looks like somebody has acquired right-of-way at some point in the process. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out, that's
Yeah.
what it appeared to me.
And we will verify with Joe and with the county as need be to get a bit more history on some of that right-of-way acquisition over the years and see if we can get some firmer numbers in advance of Monday.
Thank you, Art. Any other questions on this item? I'm assuming we're going to have the same questions on the next one. Let's move on to item number 4. Art?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor and Council, this is a design review, TCO 25004. This is at 5300 Sycamore Road, adjacent to the lot we just reviewed. So again, here is the subject lot in purple and almost a triangular shape as well, too. Again, that zoning is RS 100 with the adjacent zonings as well. Zoom in better here. Go back to the site plan there. And here are the elevations of this proposed home. Mr. Mayor and Council, the staff recommendation is approval of the site plan and buildings and material and architectural detail with the following conditions. The final design shall substantially resemble the attached exhibits labeled Exhibit 1 through 3, and again, to reduce the front setback from 25 feet to 45 feet. So similar to the previous request, and we will double check with Public Works to make sure that we have those numbers and check on any previous right-of-way acquisition that may have come up with Sycamore.
Appreciate it. I think we probably have the same questions and concerns on that one. Yes, sir, Gary?
Since we do have this concern about the placement of the 25 feet, would it be possible to have someone go out there and put a stake or something and take a picture and show us Monday night of where that is so we can see it from the road there and see it? Because if it's 25 foot from the right-of-way and the right-of-way is 15 feet off the edge of the road, right, then it's got to be 40 feet or whatever.
Right, yes, sir.
Just like to see that kind of visually laid out if possible.
Absolutely, and we'll coordinate with Joe and his team to do that. We can absolutely do that, yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, we'll move on to item number 5. Troy.
We'll get the presentation pulled up here momentarily. This item is related to one of the items in the capital improvement budget for 2025, and that is a sidewalk project on the east side of Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. It extends the sidewalk on that east side north up to Spring Hill Drive, excuse me. And then the idea is that ultimately we will be able to connect a gap in the sidewalk system on Spring Hill for some 500 feet of sidewalk on the north side of Spring Hill Drive, as shown on the right side of the screen. We did present the information to you a little late. The bids came in Thursday on this project, so I'll give you a chance to digest it and be ready for questions next week. But these two sidewalk segments are important segments to the sidewalk system. We were very pleased with the amount of interest we received on the project. There were some 20 plan holders on the project. So just like the roadway improvement projects that we bid recently, there's a growing amount of demand in the construction industry, which is better for owners like ourselves, gives us more competitive pricing on these. We did advertise the project after preparing the plan set with our design consultant, and then opened bids on Thursday, as I mentioned. So there were 7 bidders out of the 20 plan holders. There were 3 that were under budget. The budget is $750,000. And the apparent low bidder was R&B Development, Inc., at $586,659. The second low was Omshiv at $620,735. And the third low was CMC with $679,715. We have not necessarily completed our verification and review of the bid documents, so we will prepare a final recommendation for next week. But all 3 of those are under budget and are confident we will find a successful, responsive bidder among those 3. We did reach out to Gwinnett County, both their Parks and Rec Department and Public Works, for additional funding for the sidewalk component on PIB. We have not received a response, so we do not have any county participation in this project.
All right, thank you, Troy. Any questions on this item? All right, thank you. Next, we'll move on to item number 6. Paul?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to ask Chief King to come up and just explain to y'all exactly how this benefits the city. But it is an agreement that other cities have signed that allows for arrestees to be transported to the county jail. The contract has been reviewed by our legal counsel, and if you approve it, it will be signed by the sheriff, Chief King, as well as the mayor. So with that, I'll ask Chief King to give us an overview.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Good evening. The contract is basically a memorandum of understanding, with the Sheriff's Department, wherein if we encounter a subject that's wanted out of another agency, and we do encounter several people, if we run them on GCIC, they have a warrant, we can detain them and take them directly to the Gwinnett County Jail. There are no costs incurred by the city for this service. And they would then in turn contact the agency that the warrant is out of, and they would make arrangements for that agency to pick up their inmate. One of the greatest benefits, well, there's two great benefits. The first one is right now, if we currently detain somebody that has a warrant, we have to wait for Gwinnett County Police to arrive to our scene. And if they happen to be inundated with calls, we don't know how long that could be. And we've had to wait for officers to respond to the scene anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes on any given day for whatever reason. The longer we keep a detainee in the back of our patrol car with handcuffs on increases our liability for injuries to them. At the same time, the other benefit is we're freeing up Gwinnett County police officers. They can focus on their dispatched calls for service, and they don't have to come to us to transport someone all the way to Lawrenceville to the Gwinnett County Jail.
All right, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Paul.
Any questions?
Any questions?
And we are properly equipped to do so, just so if anyone had a question, our vehicles are equipped to transport prisoners.
All right, I see no questions. Thank you, Chief King. All right, we'll move on to item number 7. Alvin?
Thanks, Mayor. In an attempt to allow to us the opportunity to equip our marshals just with a level of I don't know, really was looking to adopt the official code of Georgia, annotated Title 40, which basically it governs the traffic regulations for vehicle operations within the city. And so Chapter 6 of that is actually the uniform rules of the road. And ideally what this is and what this will provide is the ability for our marshals to be able to ticket for traffic control. So signals, stop signs, signals, right-of-way incidents, vehicle equipment, as well as lighting, emission. In addition to that, it also has the ability to ticket for pedestrian and cyclist rights and responsibilities for engrossed violations of those opportunities. I think it also is a great way of looking to ensure consistency in traffic enforcement. I think it also adds the enhancement of the public safety, so reducing accidents and injuries. But in addition to that, as Chief King just mentioned on the previous item, I kind of looked at numbers as far as the North Precinct 2024 citations that they offer, that they initiated in 2024. So general and traffic, they actually ran on 29,000 general and traffic calls. Citations issued, they had 13,184 citations issued. And traffic accidents, it was a little over 4,000 traffic accidents. Right now, as far as within the local areas, Marshal Services that's locally, the city of Decula and the city of Peachtree Corners, both all have Title 40 ability, have adopted Title 40 rules of the road, and within their Marshal Services as well. So just really looking to adopt that into our ordinances as well.
All right, thank you, Alvin. Any questions of Alvin on this one?
I have some.
Yes, sir.
So it sounds like, unless I'm misunderstanding this is expanding to allow the marshals to enforce traffic on major highways and intersections and that sort of thing. We already pay Gwinnett County Police to do that through our taxes. We started a private security firm years ago to do additional patrols through neighborhoods and that sort of thing because we didn't feel we were getting enough police presence in those areas. That expanded over time into more hours and then expanded over time into the marshal system. But as far as I'm concerned, that's what I think the Marshall system ought to be doing, is driving neighborhoods, security on the trails, at the E-Center. I'm not interested in seeing them sit there monitoring red lights, or certainly not speed on 20 and those sort of things. I think we're already paying for that through the county. I have a little bit of concern with the previous thing about the transportation too, because I think the more we get into that, the less the county is likely to respond to those things, because they're going to reflect to us. And certainly we're paying a lot more through taxes for the county police than we are with the city. And that kind of goes along with one of the items I saw. We got an email about a noise complaint from behind the Samba restaurant, and it mentioned that the resident there had called 911, and they called Gwinnett County Police, who then referred the call to the city marshals. I don't think that's what ought to be happening. I think they're dispatched to the county police ought to come enforce that again. I think we're hiring marshals to get additional neighborhood patrols and that sort of thing. I don't think we ought to be receiving those dispatches from the county, them handing off what we're paying them to do to us, which we're doing because we didn't think we were getting enough police presence in the neighborhoods. So I do have some concerns about this and how kind of all those things would tie together. Thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments? Yes, Taylor.
This question is probably more for Chief King, kind of following along Gary's line of reasoning there. Is this really so that, say, the marshals are driving through a neighborhood, and I know this happens in my neighborhood often, we have folks that run stop signs and other issues that they may notice, but they don't really. Now they just stop. I think they just stop them and give them a verbal warning if they observe that. Is that correct, Chief?
That's correct. That's it.
So would you, through this, if this is adopted, is that your intent to kind of address, I think what Gary's going after is, you're not going to be having marshals sitting at a particular spot waiting for folks to run a stop sign to generate revenue or other things like that?
Correct. We're not looking to generate revenue on that, and we're definitely not looking to do speed traps or any kind of speed enforcement. We'd have to be certified and permitted to do that as a city, and we are not, and we're not looking to do that. We are requested a lot to patrol in the subdivisions for various traffic violations, and at this point, all we can do is issue a warning, and once individuals figure that out, they realize they can keep doing what they're doing. And at that time, then we have the people who called in and complained, they're unhappy, and then they have to call county police to do that. And the county police will do it when they can. But as we all know, they're dispatched to calls for service, we are not. So when we see flagrant violations, we'd like to be able to go ahead and issue the ticket, at which time it does not come to the city, it would go to Recorder's Court. And Gwinnett County would benefit from the revenue of those tickets, not us.
And I appreciate Councilmember Hicks bringing this up. And so you are supportive of this adoption, I assume?
Very much so.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Chief King, may I ask you one additional question, if you don't mind? I know that we get lots of calls about speeding and other traffic infractions in front of our elementary schools. I particularly hear a lot from the crossing guards and the teachers and the principals of all of those schools. Would this also be able to help you kind of have a little bit more of a tougher stance with some of these people that are doing this in front of our schools?
Yes, it would. It would add to our credibility as a law enforcement agency within the city as well.
Yeah.
Because we are post-certified officers and we are state certified. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. And just if I may, real quick, and I apologize, just going back about Samba Steakhouse, I think that because that came down to a city ordinance versus a county ordinance, and that's why Gwinnett County called us.
Yeah, it was not so much a public safety issue, it was a violation of an ordinance issue.
Yes.
And I think some of those details in that email have not actually, didn't actually happen the way they were portrayed to us. So we're working out to research the details of all of that.
That's
So,
correct.
yeah, we don't want to jump to conclusions on anything
Right.
in here. All right, I appreciate it. I know a lot of teachers and parents that live up Level Creek Road would be really excited if we could maybe mitigate some of those traffic challenges that are happening and putting our child's lives in danger. Josh, yes.
Yeah, just a few comments. I have no problem with OCGA Title 40. That's fine. We're equipping our marshals to do that. I think one of my main concerns, and goes along to the item that we just spoke about regarding the prisoner transport, is what is our path forward with our marshals going forward? And we are under contract with Gwinnett County to service us. That's holistically fine. We have issues with city boundaries that kind of limits us almost of how we would patrol if we did have a bona fide police department, if you will. But I think my issue really comes down to how much we continue to put into our marshal service, and I have yet to see a plan from our city of what are we going to continue to do with this in 5, 10, 15 years. Is this just going to continue to be a marshal service and we're going to ticket people? And sounds like we're not going to get any revenue. I'm not trying to be a revenue generator, but it sounds like we're not getting anything from this if we start ticketing. So what... It empowers us to do great things for the community here, but what is that path forward? Is this it? Is this our path? Is this our directive? Or what is that goal going forward? I'd like to see that on paper and have a true discussion as a council of what that is so we're all on the same page. Because if we need to continue to equip our marshals, so be it. Let's do it. But what is our end goal with that?
And I appreciate the comments. I'm not really sure how Title IV is connected with our long-term vision, but unless you're saying you don't want to...
Because we're equipping our marshals to ticket people, but in Gwinnett County's getting the revenue, am I correct, yes or no? So we're ticketing people, Gwinnett County's getting the revenue, we're getting no benefit of it. So in my opinion, it's almost double taxation. We're charging our citizens here in the city of Sugar Hill for a marshal service to do the county's job that they're also paying the county police department to also do. So I don't see the linkage here on how it's truly benefiting us long-term if we do not have a long-term plan to create a police force here in the city of Sugar Hill. I 100% back our marshals. I appreciate every single thing that they do. But at the end of the day, what is our long-term plan? We've got to figure that out if we're going to continue to spend money on the marshals and equip our marshals.
Thank you for being clear that second time, because it's not what you said the first time, but I appreciate it. Thank you. That's what I want to hear from you guys. I don't want to hear rhetoric. I want y'all to hear your opinions about this item that we have on the agenda. That's all I'm asking for, right? So appreciate it. Meg.
I just wanted to clarify, it just struck me, when you said this would not be a revenue maker. You were not going to sit around, trying to make revenue. But then, as I understand it now, not one penny of any ticket for either speeding or running a stop sign in a neighborhood in the city limits or running a red light in the city limits, those tickets, not a penny of that will go to the city. And I'm really not in favor of that. I get the safety part. I get that. And I don't know. I think people who get a ticket, they're going to do what they want to do regardless of that. They're still going to run red light. It's horrible at Commerce and Frontier running the red light. So I'd love to see people get tickets, but I would love to see the city benefit from that financially as well as for safety.
You got it, but
I
Meg,
think
the
that would be an
city-
issue
yeah.
Frank would have to address. I'm sorry.
Pardon.
Sorry.
There's
My
one
bad.
person that just kind of helps manage the conversation here so that we're not all talking over each other. But Meg, are you done with your comments? Okay. Chief King.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I was just in response to Ms. Avery. I think that would be something maybe Frank could elaborate on more, because I believe that has to do with the SDS in place.
Yeah, I think as Chief King noted, under service delivery strategy, contracts and agreements, the Gwinnett County Police Department provides certain services within the city, and the city is not allowed to have a police department that does certain things that would conflict with that until the city notifies the county that it's going to form a police department. And under the latest version of service delivery, I think it's either a 4 or 5 year notification that the city has to give the Gwinnett County 4 years notice that you're going to implement a police department, and then over the 4 years, it would transition from Gwinnett County providing police services in the city to the city providing its own police services and becoming a police city, which is a separate category within service delivery strategy issues. And so a lot of this rolls back into your service delivery strategy. And as Councilmember Page talked about earlier, the purpose of the service delivery strategy agreement is supposed to be to prevent double taxation so that you're not, citizens of Sugar Hill are not having the city and the county providing the same services, and therefore residents are being double taxed for those services. So this is where a lot of this lies, is in the Service Delivery Strategy Act and the agreements that the county and city have entered into as a result of that.
All right, thank you, Frank. Any other questions or comments? Taylor?
I would say that the city is benefiting from this, even if we don't get revenue from it, because we are getting safer streets, we are getting better service to our constituents, to our residents, to our businesses. So while the city may not get a direct revenue benefit from this, we still have Gwinnett County Police who are receiving that revenue and are still providing us service. So we are getting a benefit from it while we aren't realizing the revenue from it. And again, that was not the point of, this is not why Councilmember Hicks has brought this to us, was as a revenue generator for the city. And I appreciate the thought about the concerns over that. But specifically, this is really to empower our marshals with better service to our residents, because quite frankly, Gwinnett County has bigger fish to fry than people running stop signs in neighborhoods. As bad as that is, they are already spread too thin, and I forget what our North Precinct is understaffed by. Several dozen
I wouldn't want to miss
officers.
anything, but
Yeah, I forget what the number was, but the fact of the matter is that that's happening, and we can have our concerns with that. The fact of the matter is they cannot provide this service to us because they just don't have the manpower, and our marshals are in our neighborhoods every day. They are observing these violations, and we should have some teeth behind those folks that are not obeying the rules of the road. So I think it's great. I'm glad Councilmember Hicks brought it forward, and I support this. I think it's a great idea.
All right, any other questions or comments before we move on?
I just want to
Yes,
pick
sir.
on, I mean, and I didn't bring this up for a generator for the city. I mean, and again, it's, if they are writing tickets, I mean, that's just what it is. But I mean, again, I brought it to it for the safety and for the sake, for the city as a whole, right? Again, everybody knows my passion is kids, right? That's just my thing. And we, I think that, and I didn't research this, I'm sorry. Like SROs for our school officers, they're not able to write tickets either, right? For school resource officers, can they write tickets? I'm not sure. But, again, there's opportunities for us to kind of add credibility to our marshals by allowing them to, and again, they're not going to sit on 20. I mean, we've received complaints from residents that's on 20 of loud noises and cars, of our marshals adding a presence. But again, that's not their job and their objective. And I didn't bring this for that. But it's for the opportunity for keeping our kids safe on West Broad Street. Looking at, our marshals have been offered up to become HOA police, right? Going around and doing things that typically an HOA should be doing. But again, this is brought this up for the sanity of allowing our marshals to be within our neighborhoods, our neighbors and our residents to feel safe that they're there, and to be able to kind of add that level of confidence to them from a safety perspective. So that's the only reason I brought it up. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Alvin. Any other questions or comments on this item? All right, I've got one question, if you don't mind, before we move forward towards next week and potentially take this up. What are we taking up exactly, Frank?
So I think if you all want to move forward with this, I think first of all, we have to have a conversation with the county, particularly folks at Recorder's Court, to make sure we understand what they need from us and whether whether or not they need an an additional intergovernmental agreement related to sending the citations to Recorder's Court, or if they just need our marshals to come over and be sworn in, or what the process would be. So there is going to be some coordination on the county with this item, certainly before it gets implemented, whether you want to take it up or not. The state statute, if you want to adopt the rules of the road, essentially within the rules of the road has this is what your language needs to say, this is what you need to do in order to adopt the rules of the road. So you would need to adopt an ordinance. It would need to go, it would need to be an ordinance, and it would need to be codified ultimately. So you would need to adopt that, and then there would be some coordination with Gwinnett County about how tickets are processed and how all of that works with the Recorder's Court.
All right, so it's probably not going to be ready by next Monday night, is what you're saying.
Certainly, the coordination with the county would not be ready. It probably would be beneficial if council as a whole wants to move this forward, to direct Paul and I to work with, and Chief King to work with the Recorder's Court to figure out what, if anything, they need, figure that out, be able to have that in place, and then bring it back.
Let's do this. This is just my suggestion. I think because we don't really have anything in front of us, which is something that I find important. I think it's important that whatever we adopt at our city council meetings, I think it's important that we see it during the work session. So let's just kind of maybe remove this from the agenda. I think probably it should have been under work session discussion items, and we can just kind of maybe further research it a little bit, maybe answer some of the questions that people have raised, if that's okay.
And then we can bring back the draft ordinance in the form of the statute as it would need to be inserted into the city code as well.
That'll be good, and we can look at that at a work session and discuss actual details of it. All right? Okay, thank you. All right, next we're going to move on to, we have no work session discussion items. We're going to move on to the city manager discussions and updates.
Well, thank you, Mayor. First in front of the council is the March staff training summary, as well as various educational and travel data. If you have any questions, certainly can ask me, and I'm glad to try to explain it further, but hopefully it's self-explanatory. But in pursuant to the policy that was adopted, I'm giving you notification that one of our staff, Nicole, in our planning department, will be attending the National ESRI Ezra Conference in San Diego on July 14th through the 18th. It's recommendation from Art and to me. This will help her continued efforts to increase our GIS capabilities. There's no cost for the training itself, since we are a local government, but there are related travel costs, but it's all within the budget of our planning department. So that I've given you that 2 to 4 week advance notification that she will be attending. I've approved that. Unless there's any questions, I'll move on. Yes.
So with all the cities and counties in the state, there's no training on that locally within the state that could be done?
There are groups that provide, there's a GIS coordinating group that provides training, but I think Art can speak to this, is that Esri is the model we use, which is ArcGIS, and they provide that training out of California.
Yes, sir, Mayor and Council. The Esri National Conference is attended by members of local governments and for-profits and probably other nonprofits as well over, I can't tell you how many years. Based on personal experience, I have not gone myself. I'm not a GIS person, but in my previous employ, I had a previous employee attend the same conference in San Diego a few years ago, and she brought, when Jordan went, this is when I was in Rome, she brought back a lot of valuable knowledge that we were able to use in Rome and Floyd County. I will also say that the part of the training that Nicole and I both attended at UGA a few weeks ago, which you probably have as part of your packet or list of information, involved a data analytics review. And one of the key things that will happen is an intersection, if you will, between GIS capabilities being furthered along with the data analytics information that we gain from attending the conference at UGA as well. And we believe, and I believe, that that information that is obtained, coupled with what we have now, will be able to help us to be able to serve the citizens of Sugar Hill much more effectively. For example, efficiencies and reviews, how we may be able to get more and better data for requests quicker, more efficiently, and to be able to use that type of information for different processes going forward. There are regional conferences. From my memory, I don't know if there's one scheduled this year. There probably is, but they have been in Tampa, I think, Charlotte, Atlanta, but they generally, depending on where you are in the country, they're regional, if you will. So they may be between, say, New Orleans, Atlanta, Charlotte, like I said, Tampa, Nashville. You know, we're in the Southeast region, so generally it's going to be in one of the major cities in the Southeast.
But you did not look into any of those and see if those are available?
I'm sorry, say again, sir.
You did not look and see if any of the closer ones are available?
I have not. We can check to see if some are available when they're maybe scheduled, because I think from my memory, I think the annual conference is just once a year. And I think with the regional conferences, I don't remember their schedule. It may be once a year per region, if you will.
Yeah, one of the concerns I have there is maybe just the terminology. You keep saying conference. Conference to me is a whole lot different than a training class. We need somebody with additional information on this system. I would say send them to a training class. If it's just a conference of other users, I don't see as much value in that. But again, that may just be a terminology thing.
Well, in regards to, and I have not attended this conference, but generally speaking, there is a lot of good information that is taken when you attend a conference. You have speakers that represent local government, for-profit, nonprofit, education, and they're bringing in a lot of perspective. They're talking about different studies, if you will, that have been conducted to gain information and then share that information via these conferences. So there is a lot of good information that is put out there because these folks that are the presenters are well vetted by the conference organizers to be able to try to relay the most current information to as many people at these conferences as possible to be able to then take that back to whoever they represent.
So if it's just conferences, I would say we should look local. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
If I could elaborate, this Ezra is the predominant provider of GIS software and technology, and most governments use it. And this is a user conference. It's those who use the system to find out what new additions are there. How can you basically improve on the use of that particular software? So that it's a user conference. Even though it has the word conference, I think it's going to be very interactive with practical tips as well as breakout sessions on various uses of it. So I don't view conferences as being just getting together and networking. It's actually improving your skill set, which then can be used to help hopefully improve the type of data we present to the community, the type of data we present to you, and how we can show you what things could happen with data analysis and telling stories, data stories.
All right, appreciate the explanation. Let's go ahead and move on.
Okay, ask, as you see. Our upcoming concerts in both the Bull and the Eagle. And I know the Eagle is exceptionally busy these days as well, so.
Hi, how are y'all? I'm sure you've all had an opportunity to see that we were able to announce 3 of the Bowl concerts last week. Over the next several weeks, you will see all of our concerts be put on sale, so the entire theater slate plus the 3 Bowl concerts that we have announced. Additionally, we started our first of the Spring Break Bash movies today, so that was attended very well this afternoon, and we'll be presenting a different movie every day for the rest of the week while our local schools are on spring break. Players Guild is coming up with their spring musical Footloose. They will be opening next weekend. We have a couple of races on the Greenway this month, and then to round out the end of the month, North Gwinnett will be producing their jazz festival again. They did that last year. And then the Children's Theater will be presenting The Wizard of Oz. Any questions?
Thank you, Avery. Paul, what else you got?
We will finish it up with Troy. He's going to give us just a brief, he hasn't got there yet.
Brief operations update. I'll keep it very short. Just in terms of the natural gas department, I want to mention 2 things. We did host the spring regional meeting with the gas authority on March 5th at the E-Center. So it's a good chance for municipal gas systems in our area to meet and get updates from the gas authority. So that was hosted at the E-Center on March 5th. March 18th was Natural Gas Workers' Day. I think I sent out an email on that. But at an event hosted by the Gas Authority, they did announce the winners of an Everyday Energy Hero competition. And I'm proud to announce that Alex Philman, our gas department supervisor, won the award. So we'll be giving you more information about that, but 2 positive gas stories there. And that's all I've got.
Yes, sir. Gary.
2 months ago, I asked that the staff would bring us a written policy on delinquent property taxes. Last month, I think you indicated it was going to be here this month. I haven't seen anything on it. Do you have any update on that?
Yes, Cindy and I are working on that. We've had some other things happen, but we are working on that with legal counsel as well. Because the end part of that will be 5 phase, and we're working on what those administrative steps will be. So we hope to have, we will have you a policy for your May meeting. We want to make sure that it's documented every step along the way. So, but I appreciate you asking that, and we will have it for you. And we'll share it for you well in advance.
All right, any other questions, comments? Thank you, Gary. All right, I do think we have several real estate, 1 legal matter to discuss, and that's as much as I know at this point. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Motion to go into executive session.
All right, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor of going into executive session, please raise your right hand. Somebody raised their left hand, I think. Sorry. Everybody raised their right hand. All right, we're going to go into executive session. Paul, do you think we'll have any need to take action outside of executive session? Okay, sounds good. Y'all are welcome to stay around though until we get back. All right, let's go to executive session. We'll get started when James is ready. All right, we are back from executive session. We discussed 4 real estate matters and 1 legal matter, but we have no action to take outside of executive session, so I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. our
Motion to
works-
adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn from Josh. Is there a second? Second from Alvin. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, we are adjourned until next week. Thanks.